Hello all, welcome to Homeschool, and we are with the chapter Structure of an Atom, isn't it? So in our previous class, we have discussed a detailed things about the subatomic particles, isn't it? What were the three subatomic particles? Electrons, protons and neutrons, isn't it? And in today's class, let us try to discuss atomic models, like how these electrons, protons and neutrons are arranged inside the atom. This actually has been explained by many scientists in many ways, but few important models we are going to discuss. Under that, the first person who explained about the structure of atom was J.J. Thomson. Okay, so J.J. Thomson told that the atom has mainly protons and electrons. Okay, actually during the time of J.J. Thomson's, neutrons were not yet discovered. Neutrons were recently discovered in the 19th century. Okay, whereas electrons, protons were discovered in 18th century, and this model is discovered, it was discovered in 18th century. Okay, so in 18th century still neutrons were not yet discovered, so he did not tell anything about the neutrons here. Okay, he spoke only about electrons and protons. Electrons are negatively charged particles and protons are positively charged particles. Let us see how he has given arrangement for electrons and protons inside the atom. Okay, so the first point what he told was, protons are positively charged particles. Yes or no? Protons are present in the form of sphere. Present in the form of sphere. Okay, you can just observe the picture there, right? So there is one sphere in the sense just like one uniform area, one common area, right? So protons are present in the form of sphere where electrons are embedded in it. Embedded in the sense they are fixed in it. Okay, so just like a watermelon, can you able to think of watermelon? You have full red colored surface, that is what we call sphere. Okay, so in the plain red colored surface you have black colored seeds here and there, right? Say, how does a watermelon looks like that? If you cut a watermelon, you will find full red colored area. So this red color area is what sphere, and he said that protons are present in the form of sphere. Okay, protons will occupy the entire area of atom, but here and there, electrons are fixed in that sphere, embedded in that sphere, just like the black seeds. These are sphere is made up of protons. Okay, and these black seeds are nothing but electrons. So this is how electrons and protons are present inside the atom, he told. Okay, say just like the picture that you can observe, or you can keep that watermelon in your mind. And actually from this model, what we can conclude is the atom is neutral, right? Actually the number of electrons and protons is almost equal, just the protons are spread very rapidly. Okay, and it is spread in the form of a sphere. Okay, and electrical neutrality is maintained here. Electrical neutrality is maintained. What do you mean by electrical neutrality? Like number of positive charges are always equal to the number of negative charges. He also agreed to that point, and to give justice for this point, he gave the model as this. Okay, so in the positive sphere, here and there the negative charges are fixed. So this is what we call Thomson's model of an atom, and this model is also called, it was also called as watermelon model. Watermelon model. just like an watermelon piece it looks like. If you cut a watermelon in round spear shape, just that itself you can compare to an atom. Okay, or it is also called plum pudding model. Okay, plum pudding in the sense what? Plum cake. If you see a plum cake, you know, the brown color round cake would be there, here and there some nuts would be there fixed, isn't it? So the atom model just looks like your cut round shaped watermelon or plum pudding. So it is called watermelon model or plum pudding model. So this is all about Thomson's model. Okay, so anyway, many of them did not agree this model of an atom. So there comes another scientist called Rutherford. Okay, so he gave his own model based on certain experiment. So let us study the Rutherford's model of an atom. Coming to the Rutherford's model of an atom, it is much advanced model compared to J.J. Thomson's model. Thomson's model was very simple. Very simply, he told that there is a sphere of positive charges where a negative electrons are fixed in that, embedded in that, isn't it? But this model is very much different than the Thomson's atomic model. Let me tell what Rutherford told about the structure of an atom initially. Okay, what he told was, he said, atom always has something called nucleus at the center. Okay, atom always has nucleus at the center, and this nucleus contains protons and neutrons. Okay, three subatomic particles are there in atom: protons, electrons and neutrons. So among the three, two subatomic particles are present at the center of the atom. Okay, and electrons keep revolving around this nucleus. Okay, so he actually said atom is something very much spherical in shape, where central nucleus is there. Inside the nucleus you have protons and neutrons, and electrons will revolve, you know, electrons will revolve around this nucleus in a circular way, he told. Okay, so this is the idea of Rutherford, how electrons, protons and neutrons were arranged. And how did he get this idea? How did he tell that centrally there is something called nucleus and electrons are there around the nucleus? You know, how did he tell this? He told this based on the experiment called alpha ray scattering experiment. So we are going to learn that experiment in this class. Clear? So what I would like to tell you is, he gave his atomic model based on alpha ray scattering experiment. Okay, alpha ray scattering experiment. So what he did in his experiment was, he took certain chemical, you know, which emits a radiation. Okay, and these radiations are nothing but alpha rays. Okay, so this is a source from which radiations containing alpha rays are emitting. Alpha rays are emitting. Okay, so what do you mean by the word alpha rays? You know, these rays or radiations contain small positive charged particles. Positive charged particles. Okay, they are nothing but positively charged particles. So many positively charged particles are coming out of this particular substance in the form of radiation. Okay, so it will give out those rays in the form of radiations. Clear, everybody? Fine. And now, in front of this particular substance, which we call it as a source, he placed, you know, gold foil. he placed a gold foil. What do you mean by gold foil? Gold sheet, very thin sheet is called as foil. Very thin gold sheet he placed in front of these source which is giving out the radiations. Okay. And you know, your thin sheet of gold foil would contain many atoms of gold. Yes or no? Anything of gold contains its own atoms. So here this thin sheet is also made up of so many gold atoms. Okay, just keep this in mind. And here the entire setup he covered with photographic plate. Okay, this is called photographic plate. So what is the importance of this photographic plate here? Say the radiations will pass through this gold foil. Can you see these radiations with your naked eye? No, right? Radiations cannot be seen with your naked eye. See, if you want to know whether the radiations passed through the gold atoms or not, how do you know? Because you can't see from your naked eyes. That's the reason we have kept a photographic plate here. See, if at all, if radiations are entering through this gold atoms and if it is reaching here, you know, the radiation will hit the photographic plate in different directions, isn't it? So wherever the radiations are hitting a photographic plate, there you will observe a kind of glow. Okay, so by observing a glow, you can able to say that, oh, radiations are passed through this gold foil and they are hitting at different positions. You know, this is what you can come to know. Since you cannot see the radiations with your naked eye, you want some proof that radiations, whether they are passing through this or not, where they are going and where they are hitting, you want to know. Okay, so that's the reason this photographic plate. Wherever radiations hit, you know, a kind of glow starts appearing, just like the picture. Okay, so you can clearly see that visual there. There is a there is a source from which the radiations are coming, alpha rays. Okay, alpha rays are positively charged, guys. And in between, very thin sheet of gold thing is kept. And after that, the whole setup is covered by photographic plate. You see, wherever the radiations are touching on a photographic plate, there you can observe a glow, isn't it? So very nicely you can come to know by seeing the picture, isn't it? Fine. So this is what the experiments he conducted, right? This experiment is called alpha ray scattering experiment. Okay, and now let us list out the observations that he has made out of this experiment. Okay, so let us now study what and all he came to know from his experiment. Okay, about the atoms. Observations. I am going to list out certain observations. See here, imagine these are our gold atoms, just 2 layers of gold atoms I will draw here. Okay, and what he observed was, here there was a source, okay, which is emitting a radiations. So from the source, say you know, actually according to him, what is his assumption? Centrally there is something nucleus and the atom is spherical. So in that way only he has drawn certain atoms in layers. Okay, and what he said was, most of the alpha rays were passed through the gold atoms in a straight line. Okay, see what he said was, most of the rays that were coming from a source, you know, they passed and straight away they have hit. How did he know that they passed in a straight line? Because, you know, in this position, exactly the position which is straight as that of source, you know, he observed certain glow. So that's how he could say that most of the radiations actually they passed through the gold atoms. Okay, they did not interrupt anywhere. They passed through the gold atoms. Okay, but you know, some of the rays have deflected in larger angles. Okay, so he could observe glow here also. That means, you know, the rays, instead of going straight, they have deflected. He could observe glow here, he could observe glow here. That means the rays have come here and somehow something happened here, so they went in this direction. They went in this direction. Right? So he could observe gold in this direction. That means the rays, they were traveling in a straight line. Automatically something happened here. So they are going back. They are getting deflected. And how did he know that they are getting deflected? Because, you know, in this position of the plate also he could observe a glow. That means the radiation went straight initially and something happened in the gold foil area. So the ray deflected back. Right? So some of the rays deflected in smaller angles and some in a larger angles. Okay, but very few of the rays, they went in a straight line and again they deflected completely back in 180-degree angles. Okay, very few rays. Say he kept a photographic plate backside also. What he observed is he got a glow here also. That means the rays went in a straight line. They have hit the gold atoms. Something happened there, so the ray is coming back. Ray is completely coming back in 180-degree angles and it is hitting in this direction also. Okay, it is hitting here also. That means the ray has completely deflected back. Very few rays have deflected back like that. Okay, so this is what the observation he made out of his experiment. Okay, now let us list out the observations what and all he has made from his experiment. See guys, first and foremost what I can write is most of the alpha rays are moving in a straight line. Moving in a straight line through the gold foil. Okay, next, some of the alpha rays deflected in the sense deviated. Instead of moving straight, they are getting deviated. Okay, so they deflected in larger angles and some deflected in lower angles. Okay, and the next point is very few of the alpha rays, okay, at least 1 in 20,000 rays. If 20,000 rays are passing through gold foil, at least one ray will completely deflects back in 180-degree angles. That means the direction in which the ray is going in the same direction, but in the opposite direction it is coming back. Okay, imagine you are standing straight in front of a wall. You are hitting a wall with a ball. So ball will, in the same direction, it may come back to you, isn't it? So that is how at least 1 in 20,000 rays are completely deflected back. Completely deflected back in 180 degrees angle. Okay, so this is what the observation that he could make it, and you can see the figure also. There is a small illustration. See, few of the rays, alpha particles, are going through the atoms, and few are deflecting in a smaller angles, and few are completely deflecting back. Okay, so this is what the observation he got to know. And with this observation, what is the conclusion he gave? Yes, okay, he observed, this is what he observed. And what is the conclusion? Out of this observation, what finally he told about an atom? Let us list out those points also. You can see the picture there, that is there for your reference. Okay, see, most of the rays have passed in a straight line. Okay, that means what he said was most of the place in atom may be empty. Okay, what is the first point he said? Most of the space in atom is empty. Okay, so what he said, centrally there is a nucleus and electrons are revolving around this nucleus. You know, atom is spherical. See, all this space is empty only. But here, yeah, electrons are very small particles. They are revolving, but still the space, if you see, most of the space in the atom, this is the boundary. Okay, and the whole space is empty only. That's the reason maybe most of the rays are passing in a straight line, right? See, most of the rays are passing in a straight line means most of the space in atom is empty. Okay, and second point is there is a hard mass at the center of the atom, okay, called nucleus. Okay, so at the center of the atom there is some hard substance which we call it as nucleus. Okay, and later nucleus is positively charged. Nucleus is positively charged because protons are present in it. Protons are present in it. Okay, so what I said starting, this nucleus contains protons and neutrons actually. Okay, so anyway, during Rutherford's time, neutrons were not discovered. It was discovered very much later. So during his time, there were only electrons and protons. Electrons are negatively charged, protons are positively charged. Okay, so the nucleus contains protons and electrons are revolving outside. This is what he concluded. Okay, and you know, some of the alpha rays deflected in larger angles and some in a smaller angles. No, why this has happened? It is because you see, whichever ray is coming near to this positively charged stuff, this is positively charged because protons are there. Okay, and you know, the alpha rays are also positively charged, guys. No, so when two positive charges are coming near and near, repulsion occurs. Yes or no? They won't get attracted. They won't get attracted. They go far away, far away. Right? Like charges always repel. Two positive charges, when they come close together, they repel. They go far away with each other. Okay? Only attraction is possible between positive charge and negative charge. Okay? If this is a positive charge, if this is a negative charge, they attract. But if this is a positive charge, this is also positive charge, they go back. Okay? So maybe the rays which are coming near to the positive charge, repulsion occurs. No? That's the reason it's not going straight. It is going back. Repulsion is happening. Okay, so that's the reason some of the alpha rays are getting deflected. But you see, very few alpha rays, 1 in 20,000 ray is completely going back. Right, you can observe the picture also there. Completely going back means it is straight away hitting this positively charged one. Okay, one positively charged alpha ray, straight away it is hitting positively charged nucleus. So it is bounced back. Clear everybody? Because positive, straight away they have hit. What happens? Bounce back. It repulses in a stronger way, in a opposite direction. Isn't it? So this is what, based on these observations, this is what the conclusions given by Rutherford. Okay. And he also said that electrons revolve around the nucleus, okay. So positively charged guys are present inside the nucleus, but electrons are revolving outside the nucleus, okay, in a circular way. You know, that's what he told about the structure of the atom. Okay. Everything is fine. He gave justice to the positively charged guys. He gave justice to the negatively charged guys. Everything is fine. But there is a limitation for his theory. Okay. So what may be the limitation? Let us see now. Coming to the limitation, you know what he told, the nucleus is there at the center. Nucleus contains protons. Okay. And you know, electrons are revolving outside the nucleus. Okay, but usually just as a concept of physics, if any charged particle is continuously, imagine this is the electron revolving. Okay, so it revolves, and automatically, finally, there is a tendency of falling that electron onto the nucleus. Okay, so if electron falls in a nucleus, the atom collapses. Atom collapses. Okay, that means atom dies. Atom becomes unstable. Atom becomes unstable. But many of the atoms in our nature are stable only. Yes, as an atom is always stable. This never happen. So usually whenever a charged particle, electron is a charged particle, what he said, it continuously revolves around the nucleus, he said. This is the nucleus. Okay, so when it revolves, finally what happens? When it revolves, it loses certain energy. Certain radiations would come out from this charged particle. Always whenever charged particle moves, radiations are emitted. That is how radiations are there in our nature. Okay, it's all because of the charged particles moving everywhere. Whenever the charged particle is moving, radiations gets emitted. So similarly, electron also, when it is moving continuously, radiation may get emitted. It will lose all its energy. Finally, it may come and fall on a nucleus. See, if electron is falling on a nucleus, then it is no more an atom, isn't it? So for this, he could not give explanation. Okay, according to him, yes, everything is fine. Protons are there in the nucleus. Nucleus is at the center. Electron revolves around the nucleus, he said. But if electron revolves around the nucleus, since it's a charged particle, it will lose all its energy and finally it may fall on a nucleus, so collapsing an atom. Okay, so this is what happens according to his theory. For this, he could not give any explanation. That's the reason, we normally don't consider his concept as the exact concept for structure of atom. But he gave an idea, very nice thing. He said that protons are present in so-called nucleus. That point is acceptable. But electron revolving continuously around the nucleus, some correction has to be done for this particular point. So we will go for the next theory. Okay, anyway, let us note it down, the limitation. Okay, so what is its limitation? Whenever charged particle, okay, like electron, see, I can represent electron like this, right? Like electron revolves continuously. You can observe the figure also. Just a figure that is displaying on a board, you can observe. See how it is falling on a nucleus. So whenever charged particle like electron revolves continuously, it loses energy, emits radiations. How it loses energy? By emitting a radiation, actually. Okay, emits radiation and finally falls on nucleus, thus collapsing an atom. Okay, so here collapsing an atom means atom becomes unstable. But atom in our nature exists in a stable form. It is not unstable. But if you go according to his theory, atom should become unstable, right? On electron falling onto this. But it is not happening that way in our nature. So that's the reason a small correction has to be made, that we will study in the next theory in the next class. Okay, so till then revise the concept, write everything in your book. This is the best running notes, and again I'm telling this. Okay, so meet up in the next class. If you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel for more updates to learn the concepts in an easier way and in a detailed way. Thank you.